Welcome to the sixth part of the series where I would like to describe how I painted this painting. Portrait of Princess Drahomíra. Today I have some shots of painting the eyes and nose. Just like last time, this time I put the painting upside down because it's more practical. You can sit while painting and this allows a firm hand. The procedure is very similar to what I showed in the last part. The difference is that with eye painting, it is even more important to focus on accuracy. For a slight variation in proportion means a loss of form and expression. In the beginning, you can see the work with a synthetic bristle brush. Such brushes are very practical for the first strokes because the color is squeezed out of them well. In places I start with consolidating area in ochre color, but usually I already put the color that I want to have in the final on each place. Here you can already see the use of smaller brush. It is a round synthetic brush, excellent for details. However, more at the beginning of the painting than when finishing. As it is typical for synthetic brushes to have a noticeable sharp trace of a technical nature. I rarely use this type of brush when finishing. At this stage, I also use a softer hairbrush, but not as fine as, for example, a watercolor brush, because it has to be firm at the same time so that the paint can be squeezed out of it. It has a finer brush strokes. Here I also go back to the synthetic brush, but finish the thinner details with a natural hairbrush. The whole painting is a system of colored spots, and depending on how the spots are placed and mixed, it depends whether the result will be realistic or not. Here you can see shots of the palette where it's full of color splotches, as I'm constantly mixing in more shades to achieve variety as I paint. Here you see working with a soft hairbrush. Its use can often vary. Sometimes it's a squeeze of color, sometimes it's hatching that connect surfaces. At this stage, it is usually a small amount of paint. These are small collections, which, however, play a role in the final appearance. At the same time, I'm already counting on the fact that I won't have time to paint the whole face the day, so I leave the edges of the painting gradual, so that it can be gently followed up next time. Here you can see footage of eyebrow painting. This is a typical place where people often do not think about gradual transitions, but do it hard and sharp. But if you look at the eyebrows from a distance, you will see places where it is difficult to define whether it is still possible about loose skin or already fine hairs. Of course, if it is not a heavily tattooed sharp eyebrow. Often people think that for a realistic impression it is necessary to draw every hair in the eyebrows. But the opposite is true. It always depends on the total surfaces. At the same time, I consider it essential not to focus only on big shapes, such as the eyes or the shape of the nose, but mainly to all the almost abstract surfaces that are in between. This is essential for facial modeling and figure building. Here is a shot of the finished face part. I will get to how I painted the jaw and mouth in one of the next parts. In the next episode there will be some shots of painting the ear, the earring and this necklace. That's all for today. Below this video you will find links to my website and social networks. Have a nice day.